Goryulu. What a peculiar place. After some commotion, Xiao landed in the martial arts arena, his eyes vigilantly scanning the vast plaza before him. The ground of the plaza was engraved with countless intricate divine inscriptions, and just standing on it gave a refreshing and pleasant sensation. However, Xiao sharp spiritual power caused his brows to furrow. It was as if there was an unusual and overwhelming battle intent lingering in the air, slowly creeping toward him. The plaza spanned over 1,000 meters, vast in every direction. As far as the eye could see, at the far end of the plaza, a faint portal could be seen, behind which radiated an intense wave of heat. The source of the wave was clearly the demon-slaying order. It was obvious that crossing this plaza would bring one to the meeting place. Yet, Xiao found it odd that no one had come to welcome him. After all, beneath the vast expanse of this sea, every corner was filled with mystery and danger. A single misstep could land even someone with Xiao strength in peril. After a brief walk, Xiao halted before the portal at the end of the plaza. His gaze instinctively fixed on the portal, where the void seemed to ripple with a strange and elusive fluctuation. This was not an evil aura. On the contrary, it was a vast and oppressive presence that made Xiao feel an overwhelming sense of pressure. He had never encountered such an aura before, but from it, he sensed a towering hostility, as if it were directed at him. Come out. In the next moment, a serious expression filled Xiao eyes. Are you Xiao, the lord of the endless fire territory? The void rippled, forming into a blue halo that slowly spun and twisted. Powerful waves of energy, threatening enough to make Xiao feel a sense of danger, began to emanate. And you are? Xiao did not answer immediately. The voice emanating from the glowing orb was indifferent, even carrying a hint of disdain. This made the ever-vigilant Xiao suspicious. I am the demon-slaying king of the great Thousand Palace, martial supreme heaven. But I prefer to be called the Fist Emperor. A proud, world-shaking laugh echoed from the blue glow. It was a laugh brimming with absolute confidence in one's own power. The Fist Emperor? Upon hearing these words, Xiao heart suddenly shook. Even he, who had been somewhat isolated, had heard of the Fist Emperor's legendary reputation. One of the peak forces of the human realm, the ancestor of the 10,000 Fist sect, who had once killed an extraterritorial evil clan's Red King-tier powerhouse with a single punch, leaving behind a wave of fame that resounded across the realms. 1,000 years ago, his strength had reached the pinnacle of the fourth reincarnation stage, and his current power was surely even more transcendent. This person had disappeared from the great Thousand Worlds long ago. Xiao had not expected to encounter him here, which genuinely surprised him. However, what made Xiao even more curious was this person's arrogant tone and seemingly hostile intentions. Could it be? Then please lead the way, Fist Emperor. The summit meeting should be starting soon. Suppressing the many questions in his heart, Xiao smiled casually. Brother? The gap between us is like a vast chasm. A few sacred flames can hardly compare to what I possess. You do not deserve to call me brother. Suddenly, an incomparable aura of ferocity erupted, like towering waves crashing violently from the blue light. The terrifying waves, powerful enough to pierce through anything, shot forth. Indestructible golden body. Facing such a terrifying attack, Xiao smiled slightly. A towering golden giant, reaching tens of thousands of feet, materialized above his body. Boom! A sound like a bell reverberated across the entire plaza, yet at the center of the clash between the two forces, no energy ripples spilled out. It seemed as though the mysterious power of the plaza easily suppressed and absorbed their powerful attacks. The might of their battle had been reduced by nearly 10 times. What should have been earth-shattering waves of energy now appeared as weak and ineffective as the flowing waters of a river. But this seemingly simple exchange had no impact on either party. Just some trivial tricks. Hand over the demon-slaying order and leave this place. You do not deserve to participate in the summit meeting. After the attack was easily repelled by Xiao, the Fist Emperor in the blue light seemed undeterred, once again mocking him. He had his pride, and it was unquestionable. He did not recognize Xiao Yin. Xiao Yan's power and sacred flame were already the envy of countless people. Even the acquisition of his title as the demon-slaying king likely relied on the help of powerful beings. From a certain perspective, Xiao Yin had not truly eradicated the Red King-tier powerhouse of the extraterritorial evil clan, so he was not worthy of the title Demon-Slaying King. Was this matter authorized by several of the leaders? Hearing the Fist Emperor's arrogant words, Xiao Yin suppressed the raging fury in his chest, his gaze locking onto the Fist Emperor in the blue orb. They came here on their own, and if it's them who set up this trap, then there's no need for me to attend this meeting at all. Xiao Yin has his own pride and bottom line. Don't try to pressure me with the leader's name. You, a mere so-called latecomer, have no right to interfere in a meeting of this level. Hand over the demon-slaying order and withdraw, or your body will perish here. A voice once again emerged from the blue light sphere, as though completely disregarding Xiao Yin as an opponent. I see. Hearing the words, a faint smile appeared at the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth. The Fist Emperor had subtly answered. This was not the leader's intention. In that case, the matter would be easier to resolve. With 7 types of sacred flame within him, and having trained for no more than 100 years, Xiao Yin was already on par with these old-timer-level individuals. Jealousy and hatred are part of human nature, and even within the Demon-Slaying King's circle, such emotions exist. The identity of the Demon-Slaying King was solely related to the extermination of the extraterritorial evil clan. While their meritorious deeds cannot be denied, jealousy and other human emotions are only natural. You're simply jealous of my good fortune, how I've devoured many sacred flames, with noble benefactors assisting me constantly. Since you insist, let's fight. This time, I won't use sacred flame power. I'll defeat you head-on using the strength you pride yourself on. After realizing the situation, Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly filled with a strong battle lust. Clearly, no matter where they were, it was all about strength and fists. Xiao Yin, don't think for a moment that I won't dare to kill you. If you challenge me with your fists, you're courting death. Upon hearing Xiao Yan's words, the blue light sphere suddenly erupted in a frenzy of wild laughter. Right or wrong isn't something you can decide with words alone. Qualification is earned through strength. However, Xiao Yin showed no fear. The power of his dragon god transformation flowed within him, and an aura of indomitable, terrifying might began to radiate from his body. Having successfully completed the 6th transformation of the dragon god transformation, Xiao Yan's physical power alone had probably reached a level that would make anyone tremble in fear. You're overestimating yourself, but I don't mind playing with you. As the voice fell, the blue light sphere trembled, and a solid, proud figure slowly stepped onto the plaza. This so-called Fist Emperor appeared to be middle-aged, looking no different from an ordinary person, except for his fists. On his fists, there was a faint, terrifying fluctuation that seemed to look down on the heavens, gradually spilling out. The instant his fists moved, the entire plaza's space seemed to vibrate. These fists have annihilated extraterritorial Red King stage experts. With one punch, all hope is lost. Since you insist, I won't slack off just because you're a mere so-called demon-slaying king. The fist wind alone will destroy all. I will strike you down with the might of thunder. Hearing Xiao Yin speak with such arrogance, the Fist Emperor Marshal Supreme, Heaven, couldn't help but sneer. No matter where one was, strength was undoubtedly the best argument. There was no doubt about it. Fist Emperor, unleash your full power. Xiao Yin merely shrugged, as this surge in power within him was something he hadn't fully adapted to yet. Having a punching bag for practice wasn't a bad idea. The Fist Emperor before him, both in strength and threat, was more than enough for Xiao Yin to quickly adapt to and control this newfound power. Besides, Xiao Yan's current strength was not much weaker than the Fist Emperor's. Everything I do is for the great thousand worlds. A true man, even if defeated, should never hold a grudge. After a moment, seemingly worried that Xiao Yin might complain to the first seat or others after losing, the Fist Emperor added with a touch of mockery. The Fist Emperor Marshal Supreme Heaven knew that while Xiao Yan's strength was formidable, Without using his sacred flame power, his strength would be greatly reduced, making him no match for the Fist Emperor. Xiao Yin was still at the 5th reincarnation stage, while the Fist Emperor had already reached the peak of the 5th reincarnation stage, not to mention his mastery of the Supreme Fist Intent. In this battle, the Fist Emperor had to win, no matter what. Let's fight. Xiao Yan's Baxia dragon scales appeared around him, and a heavy, mountainous aura emanated from his body. With a loud boom, the plaza seemed to hum as Xiao Yan's imposing presence surged forward like an unstoppable war god, his momentum causing the space around him to shake. A colossal phantom figure appeared around him. It was the Baxia Dragon King. On the other side, feeling Xiao Yan's overwhelming fighting intent, a look of confusion gradually appeared on Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven's face. The power Xiao Yan was currently using was clearly triggered by the strength of his physical body, creating energy fluctuations. These fluctuations seemed strangely similar to the power he had cultivated himself. He cultivated his fists to break all laws with a single punch, whereas Xiao Yan focused on his physical strength, using brute force to obliterate everything. Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven clenched his fists. Although his expression remained cold and numb, the contempt in his eyes had lessened considerably. Well done. Seeing this, Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven's eyes suddenly flashed with intense heat. He raised his left fist and, holding his breath, shot it toward Xiao Yan. With a single punch, without any unnecessary embellishments, it carried a kind of fist intent that Xiao Yan could not understand, directly striking his body. Boom! On the entire plaza, tiny buzzing explosion sounds echoed through the air as two terrifying attacks escalated. The phantom of the Baxia Dragon King was struck by the shadow of the punch, causing it to hum violently. Sharp sounds reverberated around, as if it would completely shatter at any moment. Baxia Fist. Seeing how terrifying his opponent's strength was, Xiao Yan could only grit his teeth, channeling his overwhelming physical strength into his fist and launching a punch. Martial Supreme, Sky-Splitting Fist. As Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven spoke, his body slowly moved across the plaza, shaking the ground. His fists were bathed in brilliant golden light, like some ancient, sacred flame. Bang! With the attack of both fists, invisible ripples of energy spread out, leaving Xiao Yan in confusion. On his arms and fists, blood flowed profusely from the strikes, and the crisp sound of bones cracking rang out incessantly. The control Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven had over his fist intent was truly astonishing. Even Xiao Yan's body, tempered with Dragon God transformation and sacred flame, could not match it. Seems like this is going to be tricky. With a punch withdrawn, Xiao Yan quickly retreated several dozen steps to stabilize himself. Narrowing his eyes, he muttered to himself, "This Xiao Yan's strength can actually resist my most powerful punch?" Looking at Xiao Yan, who was only slightly bloodied on his fists, but otherwise unharmed, Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven's brows furrowed for the first time. The force behind his strike should have been enough to heavily injure this guy. How could this be? Half-hearted moves like this are just a waste of time. How about we settle this with one decisive move? After a brief pause, Xiao Yan's gaze suddenly turned fiery. Since they were going to fight, they should bring out their true power. Just what I was hoping for. Let's do it. As the words fell, two immense and overpowering auras swept across the plaza. Dragon God Transformation, 6th Transformation, Dragon God's Wrath. Xiao Yan's body was now filled with a brutal, domineering aura, like a demon god breaking free from hell's chains. His fists met, and blood spilled out. But beneath his fists, a small golden dragon shadow, no more than an inch in size, crawled out faintly. As his fists collided, it felt as if they could steal souls and take lives. Each strike shook the very fabric of space. The golden fists and golden dragon shadows interwove through the void, stirring up terrifying storms, carrying a faint pride as if looking down on all life. In contrast, Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven's fists were glowing with golden light. After a moment, they transformed into a fist shadow the size of a thumb, crossing the void and aiming straight at Xiao Yan's vital points. The seemingly weak attack actually made Xiao Yan's heart tighten. Crack! As the fists collided once more, lightning crackled through the air. The two golden fists barely touched, and the explosive sounds echoed like thunder, filling the air. But as time passed, the golden fist Xiao Yan had summoned gradually began to falter. Roar! Just as Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven thought victory was assured, the small golden dragon shadow suddenly roared, its terrifying howl capable of tearing apart one's soul, as it slammed silently into the remaining golden fist shadow. In an instant, the golden fist shadow, filled with Fist Emperor's ultimate fist intent, deflated like a punctured bag, quickly shrinking and finally turning into golden sand, dissipating into the air. Impossible. Seeing this, Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven's eyes narrowed, a mix of shock and fear spreading across his face. Fist Emperor, be careful. Seeing that Dragon God's wrath contained such terrifying power, Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel a slight sense of satisfaction. But the next moment, his face darkened as he shouted toward Fist Emperor far in the distance. Xiao Yan's fingers trembled as he watched the golden lightning streak across the entire plaza like a rainbow, carrying with it an overwhelming aura of destruction that relentlessly targeted the Fist Emperor. If the Fist Emperor were struck by such a terrifying attack, even with his strength, his body would likely be instantly crushed. At that moment, the blood mist formed from the Fist Emperor's body would spread across the entire plaza. This was the Dragon God transformation, the ultimate attack unleashed by the sixth transformation. Xiao Yan, what are you doing? At this moment, watching the lightning strike approach, the Fist Emperor's heart was filled with waves of cold fear. Destroy it! Xiao Yan pushed himself to his limit, but still, he could not break or stop the attack. Suddenly, the Fist Emperor's eyes flared with violent rage. With a roar, he planted his feet firmly on the ground and threw a punch that shook the heavens. Boom! The golden lightning clashed with the punch in an instant, sending a shockwave that blasted everything around them. The terrifying waves of destruction reverberated through their minds. After a moment, the attack subsided. The Fist Emperor's fist, however, was stained with blood, and even his eyes were filled with a hint of shock. Fist Emperor, are you all right? Seeing the Fist Emperor remain composed despite the dangerous situation, Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel some admiration. I'm fine. The Fist Emperor's heart tightened, and he looked at Xiao Yan with the same gaze one might use to regard a monster. Had it not been for his hidden techniques, that attack could have seriously injured him, or even killed him. This Xiao Yan was truly deep and unpredictable. Fist Emperor, do you want to continue? The terrifying clash had just ended, and the plaza, now ravaged by the winds of battle, was still filled with the buzzing sounds of residual energy. Xiao Yan, unfazed by the vibrating power of his fists, smirked and glanced toward the position of Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven. At this moment, the Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven felt a numbing sensation in his entire arm, as though the golden dragon shadow formed from Xiao Yan's Dragon God's wrath could have shattered his proud fists if it weren't for his defense. The fist was the Fist Emperor's strongest symbol. If his fists were destroyed by Xiao Yan, all his pride would crumble in an instant. Xiao Yan, it was my fault. After a long pause, the Fist Emperor's brows relaxed slightly, and the words came out without a hint of awkwardness. It's all right, Fist Emperor. We wouldn't have known each other if not for this battle. The fight just now, I haven't had enough fun yet. My strength has just broken through to the 5th reincarnation stage, and I'm still getting used to controlling it. I hope Fist Emperor doesn't mind. Xiao Yan, with his usual gentle demeanor, humbly clasped his hands as he addressed the sly old fox of a Fist Emperor. This guy, hated by many, still tries to act humble after gaining something. The Fist Emperor smiled thinly, but his expression was strained, and he had to swallow his feelings. Xiao Yan practiced the Dragon God transformation, a technique every martial artist dreams of mastering. With his accomplishments, it was only natural. At least, the Fist Emperor Martial Supreme Heaven didn't have the confidence to cultivate the dragon god transformation himself. This kind of technique could only be learned by possessing the bloodline of the dragon clan or having direct guidance from one of the 9 dragon kings. Otherwise, no one could succeed. Not to mention, just finding such a technique was as hard as reaching the heavens. The rumor was that to practice it, one needed to exchange dragon blood, and many talented individuals had fallen because of this step alone. Xiao Yin, my brother, please. Your first seat, and the others have been waiting for quite some time. After a moment of reflection, the Fist Emperor grinned and made a gesture for Xiao Yin to enter. Let's go together. As the words left his mouth, the two of them stepped through the portal, heading toward the inner meeting place of the Weapon Repository Pavilion. The lingering energy in the plaza was now absorbed by its mysterious mechanism. Upon entering the Weapon Repository Pavilion, the outermost area revealed a complex and profound formation. Under the Fist Emperor's guidance, they went through a series of identity verifications using the demon-slaying order before finally gaining entry. The Weapon Repository Pavilion, though called a repository, was actually an immense space, featuring valleys, basins, mountain peaks, and even majestic halls, slowly rising within this vast realm. Some of the hidden auras within were comparable to Xiao Yan's current power. The Weapon Repository Pavilion is where the powerful members of the Great Thousand Palace cultivate and meditate. Only those with the demon-slaying king identity can enter. Our meeting will be held in a valley within the Weapon Repository Pavilion. Let's go. With the Fist Emperor's words, the two of them suddenly increased their speed and headed straight for their destination. Heh, looks like they've already arrived. In the valley of the Weapon Repository Pavilion, 10 stone seats were arranged. 8 people sat quietly upon them. Among the 8, aside from the strange figure in the first seat, 2 were people Xiao Yin recognized, Long Luochen and Elder Kuan, the one with the soul-wandering realm. Xiao Yin and his companions swiftly entered the valley, and a faint chuckle echoed out. When Xiao Yin first heard that laugh, an overwhelming, terrifying wave stirred within him, leaving him deeply moved. This wave of energy was so powerful. It was far beyond the strength of a 5th reincarnation stage expert. I am Qingtsong, the Vice Palace Lord of the Great Thousand Palace. I will be hosting this meeting. The figure sitting on the throne was dressed in white, exuding the refined demeanor of a scholar, with handsome and delicate features. I wonder what the purpose of this meeting is. The Fist Emperor, seeing the meeting had begun, gazed with curiosity. For someone of his power, few could surpass him in terms of combat strength, but when it came to strategy or schemes, the Fist Emperor felt a sense of hesitation. The situation in the Great Thousand Worlds is precarious, and there are signs that the extraterritorial evil clan might be making a comeback. I have called you all here today because of the extraterritorial evil clan. The voice of the figure at the head, the Vice Palace Lord, was filled with deep concern, and his expression reflected his unease. Even a 6th reincarnation stage powerhouse like him could not suppress his worries when discussing the extraterritorial evil clan. As I know it, the extraterritorial evil clan possesses an incredibly strong vitality. While they are inherently evil, their intelligence is exceedingly high. The pinnacle forces in the human realm, such as those in the central region, have sent powerful experts into the extraterritorial realm several times, but apart from heavy losses, they gain nothing. I suspect that there is some highly intelligent being guiding the extraterritorial evil clan. From a distance, Elder Kuan's voice was eerily low. Elder Kuan, do you have any evidence for these claims? During the First Celestial War, there was no such entity within the extraterritorial evil clan. Just as Elder Kuan finished speaking, one of the 2 people seated at the highest position on the throne slightly spoke, a trace of doubt in his voice. The demon-slaying king, Xiao Ziyuan, known to be a terrifying existence who was on equal footing with the Vice Palace Lord. At present, there is no concrete evidence. This is merely a hypothesis I have made based on certain matters in the Great Thousand Palace, Elder Kuan replied, shaking his head slightly in response to the doubt. Despite the questioning, he still held deep respect for the 2 at the head of the table. Xiao Yin, what do you think? The Vice Palace Lord spoke again, instantly drawing all attention to Xiao Yin. I believe what Elder Kuan said is not without merit. Xiao Yin exchanged a glance with Long Luochen and Elder Kuan before speaking with a somewhat complex expression. I was fortunate enough to visit the extraterritorial realm. The creatures there are not aimless and chaotic, but rather powerful and intelligent beings have been arranged to guard various locations. That time, we suffered heavy losses. Had it not been for some oversight in the arrangements by the extraterritorial experts, we might not have made it back to this world. Xiao Yan's words rang in the minds of everyone present. What Xiao Yan said is indeed true. I can vouch for it as well. After a brief pause, the rest of the group, clearly hesitant, rose slightly. Lung Luochen and Elder Kuan spoke, confirming Xiao Yan's words. Xiao Yan nodded with feeling, then turned his gaze towards the two seated at the head of the table. The beginning of such an important meeting, discussing matters like this, seemed somewhat odd. Or perhaps, Vice Palace Lord Qingsong was trying to awaken something? I will pay attention to this matter. After a brief silence in the valley, Xiao Ziyuan's frown eased, and he nodded slowly, though his gaze shifted slowly toward Xiao Yan. It seemed as though there was a hint of both skepticism and admiration in his expression regarding Xiao Yan's words. Buzz buzz. Under Xiao Ziyuan's intense gaze, the power within Xiao Yan's body quieted, unable to rise against the suppression. This man's strength was too overwhelming, so strong that standing before him, Xiao Yan felt as if the ancient aura from within Xiao Ziyuan suppressed the power within him. Is this an illusion? Xiao Yan met Xiao Ziyuan's eyes, but the Emperor Flame Ring, which had remained still on his finger, subtly emitted a strange fluctuation. The wave was fleeting, but Xiao Yan managed to catch it. Xiao Ziyuan had previously slain several Red King stage powerhouses and gathered much information on the 7 evil gods of the extraterritorial realm. Now, his status in the Great Thousand Palace was also among the highest. Could such a figure have some hidden agenda? Among the 10 powerful figures present were the demon-slaying king, Vice Palace Lord Qingsong, Xiao Ziyuan, and the rest. The Fist Emperor Marshal Supreme Heaven, Lung Luochen, Elder Kuan, the Master of the Sword Domain, Divine Healer Miao Lingyin, who was also the only woman in the group, Xiao Yin, the Demon Spirit King, and the Ghost-Faced Man. Until we have concrete evidence, let's put this matter aside for now. Time is of the essence, and let us move on to the core agenda of this meeting. Proceed, please. As the Vice Palace Lord Qingsong's voice fell, a brilliant spatial force began to gather above everyone's heads. From a distance, it looked like a huge rhomboid-shaped realm, several meters high. The realm was filled with endless, mysterious fluctuations that even caused the strongest individuals present to feel a rare heart palpitation. Upon closer inspection, they realized that this several-meter-high realm was actually absorbing their power. Divine Artifact of the Human Realm, ranked 12th, the Void Celestial Machine Realm? The Divine Healer Miao Lingyin smiled slightly and then spoke with a hint of surprise. The vast territory of the human realm made it extremely difficult to locate divine artifacts, and among the 7 realms, they were the hardest to find. Is this really a divine artifact? What is the first seat planning to do? At that moment, countless questions appeared in everyone's minds. The Great Thousand Palace was holding a meeting of this level, so it was certainly not a simple matter. Yet, they had received no information about the meeting, which made them begin to speculate. The extraterritorial evil clan is eyeing us, and there are signs of a resurgence. The Void Celestial Machine Realm can peer into time and space, exploring endless mysteries. The core of this meeting is the Void Celestial Machine Realm. The first seat, Qingsong, gazed at the silver prism hovering in midair, his eyes turning cold, as if he had concerns. However, he did not speak of the true purpose. First seat, are you planning to? At this moment, Long Luochen seemed to have realized something, and his heart jolted. I once came across a profound method in ancient texts, but to uncover its mysteries, I need all of you to join me and help summon 10 demon-slaying marks to empower it. Qingsong's voice was filled with undeniable authority. No matter how much they speculated, he never revealed his true intentions. Seeing the first seat's mysterious and serious expression, the others couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Everyone, what are your thoughts? After a brief hesitation, Qingsong spoke again, as if he were in a hurry. The purpose of this meeting was to activate the Void Celestial Machine Realm. Of the 10 people present, only he knew the full details, which was Qingtsong's cleverness. The Great Thousand Worlds seemed simple, but someone like Qingtsong could vaguely sense the hidden corruption within it, forces that could only belong to the extraterritorial evil clan. The power and number of the extraterritorial evil clan were immense, and even though the First War had heavily wounded them, they now hid like filth within the Great Thousand Worlds. This made Qingtsong wary. The goal of this meeting was directly tied to the safety of the entire Great Thousand World, and there could be no room for negligence. Could this lead to some side effects? For a long time, no one spoke, as they had no idea what Qingtsong's ultimate purpose was, and judging by his demeanor, he wasn't planning to explain. But they knew that, although they were all demon-slaying kings, their strength and status still had slight differences. Qingtsong's actions were thus understandable. Xiao Ziyuan furrowed his brows, his eyes locked on the Void Celestial Machine Realm in the void. It was said that this artifact could comprehend yin and yang, peer into past lives, and even the future. Unfortunately, throughout the long years of the Great Thousand World, very few experts could activate it. Every time the Void Celestial Machine Realm appeared, it signified the prelude to disaster. Rest assured, I will bear all the issues myself. All of you, just assist me. Qingtsong smiled faintly, as if sending a quiet assurance to the others. This time, Qingtsong was clearly prepared for the sacrifices needed for a greater cause. At this moment, Xiaoyan felt a sense of confusion. Was this meeting of the 10 demon-slaying kings simply called by First Seat Qingtsong to assist in operating the Void Celestial Machine Realm? But what exactly did Qingtsong intend to use this artifact for? To peer into or investigate something? The serious and mysterious atmosphere slowly echoed through the valley, intensifying the mood. All of you are the true elites of the Great Thousand World, but the matter at hand is extremely significant, so please allow me to keep some things under wraps. Qingtsong spoke once more, his words implying a desire to shoulder the great responsibility alone. Good. No problem. One after another, enthusiastic shouts rang out like thunder, shaking the entire valley. After Qingtsong's repeated assurances, everyone finally set aside their concerns and fixed their eyes on him with determination. Since that's the case, let's begin. Please activate the demon-slaying order and pour your own source power into it to form the demon-slaying marks. Then, together, we will empower the Void Celestial Machine Realm. I will handle the rest. This time, we will certainly succeed. 10 demon-slaying kings, with the weakest among them still being a terrifying existence at the peak of the 5th reincarnation stage. Such a terrifying lineup, even within the extraterritorial evil clan, could almost go unchallenged. What is the purpose of this powerful lineup gathering their strength to activate an artifact here? Is this a disaster, or is it a prophecy? Perhaps only time will reveal the truth. Xiaoyan, I have a bad feeling about this. As everyone combined their efforts to activate the demon-slaying orders and gather the demon-slaying patterns, Elder Kuan's soul power quietly surged into Xiaoyan's ear. Among the 10, only Xiaoyan and Elder Kuan have reached the spirit-wandering realm with their soul powers, so their private conversation went unnoticed by the others. On the other hand, the others kept their gazes fixed on Qingtsong's first seat and the Void Celestial Machine Realm in the sky. What could an artifact, requiring the combined power of 10 demon-slaying kings to activate, be preparing to do? Elder Kuan, do you mean? You think this meeting is a conspiracy? Xiaoyan appeared calm on the surface, but his thoughts quickly turned as he communicated with Elder Kuan, and several suspicions flooded his mind. Qingtsong's first seat's actions are certainly correct, but something still feels off. Look closely around this valley. Elder Kuan didn't give a direct answer, his eyes slightly unfocused, clearly scrutinizing something with suspicion. Upon hearing this, Xiaoyan lightly released a surge of soul power and focused his gaze on the valley. The valley was located in a corner of the weapon repository pavilion, yet it gave Xiaoyan a strange feeling. It seemed as though the valley's position had been separated by the spatial rift inside the pavilion. The ground of the valley was covered by a thin layer of silver mist, which surrounded everyone, as though they were in some sort of energy barrier. The subtle undulations hidden within that mist were certainly not something they could resist. What is this? At this moment, Xiao Yan's divine movement inscription, which had been dormant for a long time, suddenly trembled, and he felt a terrifying tremor from the energy beneath the valley surface, emanating from the core of the inscription. To provoke such a terrifying aura from his divine movement core inscription, it could only be an array. But why was this array surrounding them? And it seemed like the array had already begun operating. An array capable of trapping 10 demon-slaying kings? That sounds like an impossible story. I don't know what that is either, but I know it's a force only the Vice Palace Lord can control. Be careful and adapt to the situation. Elder Kuan shook his head, then fell silent, worried that their private exchange might be overheard. Xiao Yan nodded slightly, then focused, his gaze briefly lingering on the void celestial machine realm. At that moment, 10 energy lines of different colors slowly gathered from the demon-slaying orders worn by the 10, leisurely shooting toward the void celestial machine realm. The demon-slaying orders were specially crafted by the Great Thousand Palace, containing boundless energy and mystery. Now, combining the collective power of everyone's origins and the demon-slaying orders, they created the demon-slaying patterns, which were more than enough to supply the enormous energy required by the Void Celestial Machine Realm. The Void Celestial Machine Realm had no offensive power, but it could pierce through yin and yang, revealing hidden secrets, though the energy required was massive. The ancient mirror, entirely white, suddenly emitted a series of powerful energy waves. After only a short time, 10 imposing and powerful patterns were etched on its surface, as though drawn by a divine hand. With this influx of immense energy, the previously calm void celestial machine realm began to turn. Waves of terrifying ripples slowly spread from above, shaking the hearts of the onlookers. Thank you, everyone. Once the 10 demon-slaying patterns appeared, and the hidden power within them began to overflow, dispersing over the void celestial machine realm and activating its own power, Xun'er's first seat finally spoke. His voice was filled with a sense of determination. The combined power of the 10 demon-slaying kings had indeed successfully activated the void celestial machine realm. The rest would be easier to handle. Boom. No one spoke, as everyone's attention was completely focused on the void celestial machine realm. The 10 demon-slaying patterns flickered, and within moments, they were consumed by the artifact. The void celestial machine realm's entire body began to emanate a dazzling spatial power, releasing a wave of extreme strength. The mirror's surface fluctuated and changed unpredictably, and after a few breaths, it slowly began to sketch out the image of a lake. Within the image, there was a strange grayish lake with no creatures in sight, except for the silhouette of a woman standing atop the water. First, the filthy evil lord. Her body and soul have been destroyed. Before long, a thick black mist, like a terrible force shaking the heavens and earth, slowly gathered into a shadow. The shadow respectfully spoke to the woman in front of it. Gurgle. Watching the scene within the dimensional realm, everyone felt a surge of horror, and as their gazes fixed on the woman's silhouette, a chilling aura of death filled their hearts. Crack. The scene lasted only for a brief moment before it eerily shattered, and 10 demon-slaying runes suddenly appeared. However, these 10 runes had already been devoured by a divine artifact. Now, they were filled with an overwhelming crimson blood-red glow, radiating an extreme sense of evil. The moment they surged forth, without any warning, they once again rushed into the void celestial machine realm. This is bad. Stop it. At this moment, the face of the first seat of Xun'er darkened, and with a wave of his hand, the vast energy of heaven and earth condensed like a barrier, instantly suppressing the auras of the other 9 individuals. But unfortunately, it was still a second too slow. The 10 crimson demon-slaying runes surged into the void celestial machine realm. The image of the foreign domain's primary intelligence screen was suddenly shattered with a loud bang. Suddenly, the mirror surface of the void celestial machine realm flickered again, and the scene shifted to a dark, void-like space. Within this space was a dim, dark realm, and several silver stone coffins appeared in the view of everyone. These coffins were bound by chains of scorching fire, seemingly being suppressed, yet also appearing to be protected. What is this? At this moment, everyone, including the first seed of Qingcong, narrowed their eyes instinctively, as if trying to uncover the mystery within. This is the domain of my netherworld. How dare you rampage? Just as everyone was puzzled, a cold, low growl suddenly reverberated from the realm of darkness, sending a shiver of horror through everyone's minds. It felt as though all the energy within their bodies had instantly frozen under that roar. Even the first seed of Qingcong couldn't help but narrow his eyes in disbelief. What kind of powerful energy fluctuation was that? Crack! The dimensional realm was abruptly shattered by that piercing roar, and the air in the entire valley buzzed. The void celestial machine realm fell back into silence, clearly indicating that the power had been completely drained. Everyone, now that things have reached this point, is there still any need to hide the truth? The first seed of Qingcong waved his hand, and the void celestial machine realm slowly sank into the void. A silver halo, like an ancient structure, suddenly encased the entire valley, trapping it completely. A pressure from heaven and earth suppressed and confined all the energy within their bodies.